going on, guys, and welcome back. The Blob came out back in 1988, was directed by Chuck Russell, and it follows a meteor crash that lands on Earth near a small town containing a deadly entity from space which consumes anything and anyone in its path. First of all, I just gotta say, I've never really watched the original. I know one came out back in 1958. And I never really took the time to look at it or research it or anything. I just kept on hearing about this one. And I remember watching this one, the 1988 version, a long time ago. I must have been like in my early to mid-teens, maybe even earlier than that. But I never really took the time to watch the original, though. And maybe it's about high time I do that, if I can find that. But anyway, let's get in with the positives as usual. First and foremost, the story. It was pretty awesome. I liked the whole idea that this meteor just came down from space, from out of nowhere. It contains this deadly entity that just consumes everything, no questions asked. It's a definite true creature feature, if you ask me. It's tense, spooky, creepy. Everything I pretty much expected and remembered from when I watched it before. And I gotta talk about the creature. Oh Lord, it was awesome. Of course, this was at a time before digital effects came into play in Hollywood. So everything was basically practical. And the way they made this blob look, it wasn't cheesy. You hear a movie like The Blob, you kind of expect it to be, but not in this case. It was actually awesome. It looked real, it looked really scary, and really, really good. The practical effects just made it all worthwhile. Everything about it was just awesome. It was just badass.
Come on, answer.
Your call cannot be completed as dialed. Please check the number and dial again.
For an 80s horror film, it looked spectacular. And the kills, it was great. Like I said, there wasn't really nothing cheesy about this. Basically, when the blob would eat people up, it would suck their souls out, it looks like. It would look like they were basically melting. Oh, and I gotta mention this one scene where it was in a kitchen, and this cook was trying to figure out what was plugging up the sink. That mofo just grabbed him and just sucked him down. It showed everything. I was amazed. I was mesmerized. I was thinking to myself, wow. This mofo don't play around. I'll tell you what, next time I do the dishes and my sink clogs up, I'm not going to worry about it. It just showed every gory detail, right down to the last bone snap. That's how tense and serious this thing was. It doesn't pussyfoot around or anything. Speaking of the thing, there's a couple scenes in there where I think they kind of took it straight out of the Thing movie. The way the tentacles of this blob would like flare around and about, and once it gets into a person, there's a couple of scenes where it kind of reminded me of that movie, The Thing. As I mentioned before, when this blob eats you up, it actually shows every detail of the person's body melting. In one scene, it looked like the eye was going like back in his head. In other words, that's how awesome it was. And we get a great cast, namely Shawnee Smith of the Saw franchise, which is a real treat for me. She plays a cheerleader in this, but at the same time, she's a total badass. She's not your typical run-of-the-mill cheerleader. She's a total badass. She knows how to take care of herself. And she plays sort of the love interest for Dillon, who plays the other main character in this, who's sort of a cocky, wise guy fella, doesn't take crap from nobody. The look and feel of this film was done really great. It was great cinematography work, great lighting, especially when it came to the blob. And let's slide on into the negatives. The whole concept that this thing was man-made, I didn't really buy it. I mean, when you first see it, it appears from space, and it crash lands. Well, these government guys comes in later on and claims that they messed up on it. They created it, but they messed up something big. I just didn't really buy that part. That, to me, opened up the fact that these guys were villains too. Even though it was a mistake, I really wanted the Blob to be the only villain in this film. And that subplot right there just kind of driven me away a little bit. Because, again, I wanted the Blob to be the only villain in this film. Just didn't really feel like that was necessary. I could have dealt without that whole thing. But all in all, if you like blood and gore and plenty of carnage and practical effects, this is the movie for you. That's right, it is Reptastic. So, the Blob, have you seen it yet? Yeah, must have. What did you think of it? Did you like it? Did you find it entertaining? Did you find it gory enough? Did you like the practical effects? Or have you seen better? Jump down in the comment section below and give me your thoughts. Thank you so much, guys, for watching this video. As always, like, subscribe if you hadn't already. And I'll see you on the up and out on the next video. And peace the Rep out.